A Pokemon format where you try to lose. It is about bloody time they made one for me. You know what? I've been thinking this whole time. Why do I feel so underrepresented in this community? Why do I feel like no one is appealing directly to my demographic? People that lose battles quite a lot. But then I see this wonderful title from Freezai Sandshrew is the best Pokemon in a format where you try to lose. Here's why. And I thought to myself, it's about time that they appeal to the not very good players. Also, I do like Sandshrew quite a lot, although my only real Sandshrew interaction was that one anime episode where the Sandshrew is like lifting weights and he's like so much stronger than Pikachu. He's like cool and he's strong, he's handsome, and like all the girls like him. And I was like, well, hopefully that's me one day. So let's see what it's all about.
Pokemon, except when all 6 of your Pokemon faint, you win the game.
I assume you can't just spam Explosion. I mean, that seems like the pretty easy way to do it. Oh, you want to lose? Okay, just spam Explosion. Oh, you want to lose? Okay, just don't use Calyrex Shadow Rider, right?
It's a format called the
Oh, wait, he's using Calyrex Shadow Rider. Never mind.
Losers game on Pokemon Showdown, where you win the battle by losing the battle, where you come up with strategies to make your Pokemon faint as quickly as you can.
Steel Beam? Oh, okay. I guess Explosion doesn't work because you can use Ghost types.
While also using
No, wait, it would still work because you can just explode anyway and the opponent wouldn't take damage. You just still die. Also, the Comfey coming in and healing the opponent, it's pretty toxic.
Strategy.
I guess it's the opposite of toxic. The Comfey is toxic.
To disturb your opponent. It's a format where the 3 best Pokemon are Calyrex Shadow.
What? Every single format. This thing is one of the best Pokemon of all time. Every single one. Even the losers format.
Smeargle, and Sandshrew Alola. Take a look at the finals of a recent Losers Game tournament where the winner actually won $100. You can see a clash between the 2 best archetypes, but we'll go over this game at the end. First,
oh, well, you've hoaxed me. Line and sinker. Now I have to watch the entire video until the end. See, that is some good YouTubing right there.
What do you think the best strategies are?
Okay, well, I would assume a lot of Explosion generally sounds like a good idea because it just knocks you out, although it does do a lot of damage to the opponent, so maybe it's not as good as I expect it to be.
You have to use 6 Pokemon, and they have to be level 100. If you thought the best strategy is to use a self one-hit KO move like Explosion...
Yes, right. Tell me why I'm wrong.
You'd be right.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, you'd be a little too right. Self one-hit KO moves like Explosion or Memento are banned for being too good.
Oh, I guess they're so overpowered. That makes sense. It's like the Mega Rayquaza of the losers format.
Turn the game into an uninteractive, boring scenario where it becomes a race to see who can use Memento 6 times in a row. It reduces the game to one and only one good strategy. If your second guess is Shedinja, you're also too right again.
Shedinja. Now I'm imagining a ginger version of Shedinja. That's how I would feel truly represented. They should just make it ginger. Not even like a ginger carapace. Just give it ginger hair. Just put my hair on Shedinja.
Taking out a 1 HP Pokemon is too easy, and Shedinja is banned in older generations and is unavailable in Generation 9.
Oh, the Black Sludge. That's smart or dumb, depending on what format you're playing.
With those strategies banned, there are a ton of interesting moves, abilities, items, and overall strategies around trying to knock yourself out.
Oh, Belly Drum and Flare Blitz would cause you to KO yourself?
You're not just looking for a good way to faint.
Could you give someone Magic Bounce and then Stealth Rock into their Magic Bounce, reflecting the rocks back at you, and then switch infinitely? Thoughts? Thinkers? Thinkers?
You're looking for the best way to faint. As a baseline, let's take an example. Say you give a Pokemon the Assault Vest item, which means they can only use attacking moves. But then you don't teach it any attacking moves, only status moves.
Oh, and it takes 25% of your health every time you struggle, I believe. Is that correct, actually? Does it do that still?
Because it has no moves available, the Pokemon will be forced to use Struggle, doing 25% damage to itself each turn.
Every single turn, there's 25% damage. That is... Damn, Struggle got nerfed. Can't believe it. Why would they nerf one of the best moves of all time? Does Struggle get boosted by, like, Galvanize and Pixelate? That does sound funny. I can't imagine winning a battle with Struggle. I want someone to win one of our Then We Fight battles with Struggle now. I think that'd be sick. Or, God, could you imagine? I know this will never happen. The world champion struggles to victory. Oh, I mean, it's poetic. The stories they just write themselves. If you really think about it, they struggled to victory. It would be the most ridiculous battle of all time. No battle in the future could ever top that. It would be, it'll never happen. It's so sad.
That strategy would take 4 turns to knock you out. And as you'll find out, that's pretty bad. There are strategies that work much quicker than 4 turns per Pokemon.
Ooh, Perish Song.
For
3
example,
turns.
Perish Song is a move that makes all Pokemon faint in 3 turns. You can use Perish Song and then use a move like Roar to make your opponent switch out, meanwhile you faint. You can even go further and use Baton Pass and actually pass the Perish Song condition to a teammate so they can be knocked out instead.
Wait, you can Baton Pass Perish Song? That is silly. That is really funny. I actually love that works.
Perish Song is a 3-turn strategy.
Oh my god, it just said perish now.
Teammate,
Hold on,
so
wait,
they can
it
be knocked out
changes.
instead.
It changes. Look at that. It says perish now. That is, honestly, that's quite terrifying. Could you just imagine hearing perish now? That's scary, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Perish Song is a 3-turn strategy, but you can go even faster than 3 turns. There are 2 main meta strategies in the format, and the first one is built around a strategy where you knock yourself out in only 2 turns per Pokemon.
Wait, if you miss Steel Beam, you still lose half your health? God, what a scam that is.
It's about using high recoil attacks. I call this strategy Steel Beam Spam. Steel Beam is a high power move that always does 50% damage in recoil whenever you use the move no matter what.
And has a 5% chance to miss. Honestly, not a good move.
That means you are effectively guaranteed to knock yourself out in 2 turns. Load your team up with 6 Steel Beam Pokemon and you're looking at a win in 12 turns condition.
But there's not 6 Steel Beam Pokemon. Surely there's not. I've seen Steel Beam on like maybe 1 mon. Like who even gets it? Sandshrew, Klefki, maybe? I suppose Nosepass gets it for some reason.
This is one of the most optimal strategies in the format, and it's pretty straightforward too. There are other variants like using the move Chloroblast, which is the grass type version of Steel Beam. But this strategy is not actually foolproof and there are ways around it. First of all though, the main meta item is Black Sludge, an item that reduces your HP by 12.5% per turn. This is generally better than Toxic Orb because it works much faster. Black Sludge immediately starts.
It's so funny to see all of these moves that you would never see usually working, doing some work. Like Imprison? When does Imprison ever work, right?
It's hitting you with that 12%, whereas Toxic Orb takes 1 turn to poison you, and then that damage increments from 6 to 12 to 18 and so on. There are some minor use cases like avoiding paralysis or sleep, and you also don't become vulnerable to knockoff because once you've been poisoned, you don't care about losing your item. But overall, Black Sludge is much better. The second most relevant item is Mental Herb so that you gain a one-time immunity to Taunt, one of the best moves in the format. Also,
Taunt forces you to attack, so it could force you into struggle, which would actually slowly kill yourself. Or it could force you into, I don't even know what you have. Like, what kind of attacking moves would you even have on a team like this? Apart from Steel Beam, which, I mean, you'd want to use Steel Beam, wouldn't you?
Pokemon will almost use 0 EVs and IVs in every stat and then maximize.
Wait, hold on. Okay, I need some explanation. Why does that Mousehold have 6 HP? Oh, it's probably because it is using Substitute and thus wants a... Is it even or is it odds? I think they want like an odds or even. God, I can't remember which one. You either want odd or even HP because it will divide equally between 25%. So I think you want even HP. That's probably why he has... Yes, I would imagine so. And then you have speed because of course you're always going to want a speed.
Their speed stat because that's the only stat that matters. You want to be doing little damage with your attack and you want to be taking a lot of damage from the opponent. The only exception is the HP stat. You want your HP stat to be as low as possible while also being divisible by 8, that way you take the most amount of damage possible from Black Sludge and any sort of recoil move.
Oh, I forgot about Black Sludge too, that's right.
One of the main forms of counterplay to Steel Beam is Heal Pulse. When your opponent tries to lose their HP, you simply give it back to them. It's a good way to at least go 1-for-1 with a Steel Beam Pokemon. And this is where we start to get into the web of different interactions.
Okay.
Substitute is an excellent move in the format because it drops your HP by 25%, but also it makes you immune to Heal Pulse. You can substitute 1 time to block Heal Pulse.
Imagine hiding behind a substitute like, no, don't heal me! Stop it! I have this sub!
And then you enable yourself to
oh my god,
Steel
the
Beam.
video stopped playing again, Jesus Christ. I dropped my sub noodle on the keyboard and the video stopped playing again. What a silly man I am.
Also has the benefit of making you immune to losing your item from knockoff. Because Substitute and Heal Pulse are such good moves, Taunt is a great move to stop them and other supporting moves too. You can force your opponent to struggle and then you Heal Pulse them. Imprison is also a good move because of how common these top moves are. If you imprison, you stop the opponent from making the same move as you.
But you could force them into using struggle, which would then make them die, wouldn't it?
One of the top Pokemon is Steel Beam Imprison Klefki. You stop the opponent from using their Steel Beam while you yourself are free to do so.
Oh, but them using struggle is actually better for you than you using Steel Beam, or them using Steel Beam because struggle takes away less health than Steel Beam does. Of course.
Also, a strategy that
Elementary, my dear. What's an elementary?
works faster than Steel Beam is fainting to Steel Beam. If you fill your team with weak fairy-type Pokemon, you can beat a Steel Beam strategy because they have to use 2 turns to knock themselves out, while you faint to their attacks in 1 turn.
How many people are playing this
A
format?
great Pokemon in the format is actually Impidimp. It has Prankster Taunt and is so weak that it feints in 1-hit KO to most Pokemon Steel Beam.
poor
Similarly,
Impidimp.
Sandshrew Alola is actually one of the best, if not the single best Pokemon in the format because it has the weakest Steel Beam ever with a base special attack of 10.
10? It's 10 special attack. Wow. I didn't realize the stats could go that low. I realized that Shuckle has like, what, 5 attack and Chansey has 5 defense, but 10 special attack? I mean, that is truly embarrassing. Why would you even learn it at that point? That's not a Steel Beam. That's a Steel Bust. When it comes out, it sounds like... It sounds like that.
No Pokemon will ever faint to Sandshrew Alola's Steel Beam. Oh, and by the way, because of Prankster Taunt, Terra Dark is one of the 3 viable Terra types in the format because Dark types are immune to Prankster. There's also one more 2-turn
I guess you could Terra into making yourself weak to Steel Beam though, right?
strategy as well, which is Ghost type Curse. A Ghost type's Curse does 50% of HP damage to itself and inflicts the Curse status condition.
And you can just use Curse over and over again, can't you? Doesn't it do the same thing over and over again?
That's generally speaking a good trade, and it's
You can
why
spam
Calric
that.
Shadow is one of the best Pokemon in the format. It's extremely fast and has Heal Pulse and Taunt, great support moves as mentioned earlier, and the Ghost type Curse. Similarly, Terra Ghost Curse is a viable option on most Pokemon, and that's the second viable Terra type. Most strategies revolve around these interactions. Steel Beam, Substitute, Taunt, Heal Pulse, Imprison, and Curse. Different Pokemon have different niches within these interactions. We already mentioned
Damn, that Chiempo got absolutely battered by the Steel Beam. I mean, do you really want to use the Zacian when you could just use the Sandshrew instead? I suppose it is worth it at the end of the day because it is killing itself rather quickly.
Sandshrew Alola and Klefki, but there's also Nosepass, a Pokemon with Magnet Pull and Steel Beam. With Magnet Pull, it can force a Steel type to get stuck in battle, and because Nosepass is a Rock type, it's likely to faint
Unless
to
you
an
Terra.
opponent's Steel Beam.
I mean, you can switch out if you Terra though, can't you? I mean, you Terra into Ice so you're weak to Steel Beam so you die faster, also smart.
Golden Go unfortunately has a strong Steel Beam, but its ability Good as Gold blocks Heal Pulse and Taunt.
Oh, very good.
Ponyard, Cufant, Clink, other weak Steel-type Pokemon are all good because of Steel Beam. Hisuian Electrode is extremely fast and also has Chloroblast to make it one of the fastest ways to 2-hit KO yourself. Smeargle
One of the fastest ways to 2-hit KO yourself is such a funny sentence that I never thought I'd
is
hear.
one of the best Pokemon in the format as well because its
Because it learns every move.
attacks are weak, its defenses are weak, and it gets every move in the game. Steel Beam, Spore, Taunt, whatever you want, Smeargle has everything and it forms the ultimate utility Pokemon who can fit any strategy.
Yeah, it can Chloroplast and do absolutely no damage. This thing will not be hurting a single person. Smeargle is a pacifist when it comes to the battling arena.
You would really only deviate from these strategies if you had a very good reason. For example, Magic Bounce Espeon is good because you want a Pokemon who can bounce back Taunt. Then you could use Terra Ghost to gain access to Curse.
Does it not Magic Bounce Curse? I wonder how that would work. I guess
It's
if
a
you're
niche
faced with 2 Magic Bounces back to back, it's not going to Magic Bounce endlessly, right?
Option, but you can use Skill Swap Magic Guard Clefable too. You can stop the opponent from taking recoil on Steel Beam. You would use it on their last Pokemon and watch as they suddenly have no way to knock out their final Pokemon.
Like, no, I can't die! No! You've kept me alive, you demon! Why would you do this?
But there's one fundamentally distinct strategy from Steel Beam spam and is the second and only other archetype in the metagame. That archetype is Stealth Rock.
Oh, yes! I said this at the start of the video. Could you just reflect Stealth Rock back at
The
yourself?
idea is you want to use Stealth Rock and then use Court Change to
Oh, that's how you would do it, of course. Court Change would be the one to do it. That's why Cinderace is on these
bring
teams.
that Stealth Rock back to your side of the field. Then you switch around until you faint.
I guess that's a less interactive and thus more boring way to play this format, though. If you just endlessly switch until you die, that's not very interesting
It's
to
one
watch.
of the only strategies that can win quicker than Steel Beam. However, in exchange for winning faster than Steel Beam, it's also easier to disrupt. Moves like Rapid Spin or Tidy Up or Defog can interfere with Stealth Rock ideas. Golden Go's Good as Gold ability blocks Defog, but not Tidy Up.
Yeah, so you need some kind of way to win after the Stealth Rock plan goes away. It's like building an Exodia deck, except you lose the parts of Exodia, so you can't summon Exodia. You still need a way to win after that? Maybe you mill your opponents with the rest of your cards? I'm not really sure what you do with an Exodia deck. Does anyone run Exodia decks apart from Yugi anymore? I thought, are they banned now?
For example, Charizard is a good Pokemon on this archetype because it has Belly Drum to lose half its HP
and then it dies to Stealth Rocks.
also takes 50% from Stealth Rock. It also leads to the third and final viable Terra type, which is Terra Ice.
To make yourself weak to Steel Beam,
Terra
right?
Ice is good to make a Pokemon weak to Steel Beam so it faints.
Yes!
And is also good at making a Pokemon weak to Stealth Rock. Now back to the finals of the tournament. It was a battle between Steel Beam Spam and Stealth Rock.
Okay, I'm going to make a prediction right now. Here's my prediction. The Stealth Rock will have a good early game. It'll be able to set the Stealth Rocks, and then the court change will go off, and he'll have a nice little way to solve the situation. But we'll see that mouse hold in the bottom left there come out and tidy up, disrupting the plans and letting the Steel Beam Spam win. So Sock's got this, I believe.
Interestingly, the Stealth Rock user was Swinub, because Swinub gets Oblivious, which makes it immune to Taunt. That is crucial.
But not to tidy up.
In fact, the Stealth Rock strategy is so crucial that the Smeargle also has Stealth Rock, and both Smeargle and Cinderace have Court Change. Golden Go blocks Defog and Rapid Spin, and Xianpao and Talonflame are two Pokemon weak to Stealth Rock and are also incredibly fast as to block moves like Tidy Up by using Taunt.
Oh, that was a good play on the court change. They used Tidy Up. Should have seen that one coming.
Meanwhile, on the other side, we have 4 Steel Beam Pokemon, Calyrex Shadow with Ghost-type Curse and Heal Pulse, and interestingly, a Mousehold. Mousehold is used purely for the Stealth Rock matchup because of Tidy Up, but it also has the move Copycat so that it can copy a common move like Steel Beam. Mousehold as a Steel Beamer is more difficult to use, but the payoff is your improved Stealth Rock matchup. In the game, we see that Tidy Up disrupts the court chain strategy, and it simply takes too long to get going. In the end, the Steel Beam strategy wins the entire tournament.
Yes, I was right!
That's the story of the loser's game. If you want to hear more about these niche metagames, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free, helps me out a lot, and doesn't cost you anything. Yes,
absolutely. Subscribe to Freezeye. The link will be in the description. There's a lot of other videos about competitive Pokemon that you're definitely going to want to check out. This kind of stuff is very niche. It's very interesting. I'd highly recommend you subscribe to Freezeye right now. All the videos are absolutely fantastic. And if you want to see more of my dumb face, then you can always subscribe here as well.